afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Salty Circuit here in Salt City. We are back for Race 4, Qualifying 4 of the Scrap Mechanic Auto Racing League. We have the same 16 racers that's been here for all of Season 1, and we will be adding more and removing some for Season 2. So be prepared for that and make sure you get your sponsorships or ownerships in. Join the Discord for more information. Season 1, as it stands, is led by Sniper's Dream, sponsored by the JFK Experience, with 47 points. 9 points behind them is Black Knight, coming off of a recent amazing win at Beckwith Raceway last week. Following them by 1 point, actually, is Neon Annihilator, who has had 2 podiums and a third place, nearly a first place 2 weeks ago. Well, I guess 2 races ago at Crystal Valley. Blue Bruiser is 1 point ahead of Fiery Dragon for 26 and 25 points, Blue Bruiser being sponsored by Turrboenvy and Fiery Dragon being sponsored by Dragon Breath. Neon Annihilator is actually sponsored by Gladion, I don't think I mentioned that, and he has had a pretty good run. Behind the top 5 is a Grasshopper, Sweet Haze, Typhoon Blade, White Rider, Chaos Shifter, Lemon Racer, Legends Tire, Penny King, Lamob Industries, Purple Shadow Racing, and Red Thunder. Coming in at over 3 kilometers with multiple turns and many long straights. Salty Circuit is one of the longest circuits we will ever see. Let's see some qualifying highlights. Chaos Shifter coming in a little bit slower, lost a lot of time actually getting super close to the wall on the edge of the teardrop trying to get it in, but they finished within about a second or 2, maybe 3 seconds down from the current pole sitter, which was White Rider. Next is Red Thunder. Red Thunder kept on hitting some bumps here and there, but had a very even time actually getting ahead of White Rider for pole position, doing really well coming out of the teardrop, coming into the back penultimate turn, and getting onto the back straight. Red Thunder actually had a pretty good time last week, but also showed some pretty good promise in the exhibition races at the beginning. So as you can see here, there are some bumps, maybe a little bit of uneven hills on this front stretch that not a lot of people can see, but whoever can navigate those can do the best. Blue Bruiser, who's had some interesting ups and downs throughout this season, also came out really close to the leading position and actually ran into a bump on the way to the end of the front stretch and ended up knocking them down to second. I didn't mention before, but Red Thunder did qualify ahead of White Rider. Sweet Haze has been on a hot streak, recently removed from their hot streak of qualifying times and actually gets knocked out of qualifying times here, as you can see him hitting a bump right before the finish line and smashing into Legends Tire and Fiery Dragon. Black Knight actually had a very similar incident, who was right after Sweet Haze, couldn't handle the bumps and run straight into the wall. They were a 10th up from Red Thunder's qualifying time and ended up 15 seconds down, putting them into the back of this qualifying round. Up next was Fiery Dragon. Fiery Dragon actually coming into the teardrop was up over 0.2 of a second and made some really good time going through this circuit. There are 2 technical sections of the circuit, the zipper and the teardrop, and those are where lots of people can make time depending on their setups. However, for this setup, as I mentioned before, everyone has been evened out to have the same exact downforce and top speed ratios, as long as suspension too. And Fiery Dragon actually qualifies in second place with that time, going only 1/10 down from Red Thunder. Up next is Legends Tires. I've mentioned before they have had some ups and downs throughout this season. So far, it's been kind of getting up, as they were within the top 10 last week at Beckwith Raceway. Going into the zipper, they were up by a little bit over 1/100th of a second and making some good progress trying to keep the tighter line going through the zipper. A good result for Legends Tires here could knock them really high up into the standing for the season and potentially get them onto the podium. After this teardrop and going into the front stretch, Legends Tires was above Red Thunder's time by 0.018 seconds and ended up qualifying at pole position. Amazing for Legends Tires. I think this is their first ever pole qualifying time, and their sponsor, Legend Over One, should be happy. Next is Purple Shadow Racing, who's had some incidents before, well actually with Legends Tires, and is actually having a pretty good qualifying time here. Only 0.08 down, they qualified in third place, behind Red Thunder, 0.114 away from Legends Tire's time. Sniper's Dream, the person to watch and the person to beat for this season, has had a really good run up into this final turn. However, they seem to lose some time after losing some traction right before hitting the apex. That put them down into 4th place, right below Purple Shadow Racing by a little bit under 0.04 of a second. Up next is Typhoon Blade, sponsored by Nick1X. Came in really close to Red Thunder and Legends Tire's time, but actually ended up losing some time towards the end, smacking into White Rider there, going behind Purple Shadow Racing at 0.133 seconds. Up next was Neon Annihilator, who actually didn't qualify super well, was within the top 10 for this round, but they got knocked out by Penny King, as you can see here, who was actually over 2 tenths down from the leader coming into the last turn, and ended up in 6th place. That's going to be all for the qualifiers here at Salty Circuit. We will see you guys very shortly for the next race, and it's going to be an exciting one. As you can see here, the top 14 are very close to within a second of each other, with the outliers of Chaos Shifter and Black Knight. Unfortunately, of the top qualifier, Sweet Haze, who's usually on top, ends up in 13th, 7 tenths, almost 8 tenths down from Legends Tires. It's almost seemed like the whole leaderboard has switched up, almost did a flip-flop, because usually these people aren't qualified up top, and the people who usually are up top are now on the bottom. White Rider and Blue Bruiser hovering on the middle for this qualifying round, looking to make some better improvements on their scores and points for the season, as well with Lamob Industries, who's also had some very unfortunate races. But you will have to join us tomorrow here at Salty Circuit. Until then, I hope you guys have a great morning, afternoon, night, or evening, and I will see you next time.